page 3.
Would the pupil have a say in which paper they take?
None of the advice. You know how you show your commitment to education system, so it should be.
Hiya, I've been finding out about the latest things to hit the newsstands. 2 new papers for children, and I'll be reading between the lines a bit later.
We'll also have 2 birds who are hoping to talk their way into being champions.
And some of us will be getting very wet.
But it's not going to be me. You've already given a tremendous boost to our new target and our great bring and buy sale for Campeche. Another £40,000 have been added since Monday, making a total of £204,627, which is an awful lot.
On Monday's programme, we reached the target of £150,000. And because the need in Campeche is so great, and because the response that we've been getting from all over the country has been so fantastic, we raised the target to £1 million.
Now, we know it is an awful lot of money to raise, but if we can do it, it'll provide equipment which will help repair the vital waterworks in Phnom Penh. It will also help improve some of the water pipes in the city and train people to repair those irrigation pumps which were first provided by Blue Peter in 1979.
Thank you for helping to raise £150,000. We never thought it could be done so quickly. Now, please help us reach our second massive target. Remember, the way to do it is to pop into your local Oxfam shop and be a bringer and buyer at our special Blue Peter shelves.
Or you could ask an adult to send off for a bring and buy sale kit and run your own sale. The address is Blue Peter Appeal, P.O. Box 123, Oxford OX2 7XS. That's Blue Peter Appeal, P.O. Box 123, Oxford OX2 7XS. And remember, every pound you raise will help to stop illnesses in Campeche caused by dirty water. Every single pound will help save the lives of babies and children, like the ones I saw in the hospital, close to death, simply because their mothers didn't have clean water to give them. Now, in Campeche, the supply of clean, fresh water is a matter of life and death. But in luckier, richer countries like Britain, we have all the water we need. And some people do some pretty daft things in it.
They most certainly do, as I'm about to prove. Well, now that it's cold and dark and winter time, this is just the thing to warm you up. A bit of a dip in the spa bath. Da-da-da-da. So, go up to the top. I'm hoping it's nice and warm. We're going to get the bubbles going in a second. Get the old shirt off here. And, as it put you off your tea, folks, I'm not surprised if it does. 1, 2, 3, woo! Oh, it's wondrous. OK, let's get the old hydrojets going. Number 1 button, that's for the air holes. And now the hydrojets. It's terrific! Definitely the thing to relax in. 38 degrees Celsius, actually. This is superb. Woo! Oh, it's marvellous. Oh! You haven't brought Bonnie as well, have you?
No, I haven't. I'm not stopping.
There's only... Split, splash, I was taking it back.
No, I'm going to do some...
Get in!
What? I'm going to do some proper swimming now. I'm the youngest member of the British Olympic swimming team, 14-year-old Joanna Cool. Now, what do you think of our pool?
I think it's really good.
It's a lot bigger than what you're used to. I mean, smaller than what you're used to, isn't it?
Yes, I think it'd be really good though, because it'll strengthen the muscles.
Yeah, that's very important. Well, in fact, you can swim in it all day without having to turn a corner, because the clever thing about this swimming pool is this over here. Now, it's a swim jet which produces an adjustable current in the water for you to swim against. So if it's strong enough, you shouldn't ever be able to reach the end of the pool. And even if you're an Olympic swimmer like Joanna. So off you go, Joanna, see if you can do it. I'll switch it on for you. Okay. Can you do it? Can you do it? Come on. There's living proof. There's Joanna, who's Olympic swimmer. And she's swimming still. What's it like to swim in?
It's really good.
Is it? Is it hard work? Shall I have a go?
Okay.
Right, okay. Right, okay, try and turn around. Oh, it's very hard. Would this be used for serious training, though?
Well, if the people could get to a local swimming pool, yes.
Yeah. Right, I'll turn this off if I can and then get past the current. Right, turn off. Do you have, when you go training, do you have time to have an enjoyable swim before you start on the proper hard stuff?
No, we're not allowed. So we've got so much solid training to do.
Yeah.
So
And what about the Olympics? What was that like?
it was absolutely fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
But it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
And what are you training for at the moment?
The Commonwealth Games in 1990 in New Zealand.
Oh, well, good luck with those. I hope everything goes very well. And thank you
you.
very much for coming in and showing me how to swim. Well, this is the first time a spa bath and a swimming pool with a current have been combined in something people can buy and put in their own homes. That's if you've got £10,000 to spare. That's great, isn't it? Right, I think we'll get on with some more swimming now.
What about the massage thing? Isn't there a massage thing?
No, we're not doing the massage thing.
Oh, 'cause it comes
no.
with a massage
Now
thing, doesn't
it's over to another part of the studio and a very dry Karen Keating.
It's lovely and dry over here. Mind you, they look like they're having a pretty good time there. I'm not sure what the people of Kampuchea would make of it, but if the swim spa can help to produce more British Olympic champions like Adrian Moorhouse, then it must be a very good thing. There's another new idea making a bit of a splash around here. If you've ever tried to read the daily papers and you've never got past the headlines, then you'll probably be interested in two weeklies that are out now aimed at children.
Did you know that the British are probably the world's greatest readers of newspapers? An amazing 15 million are read every day. But until recently, there hasn't been a newspaper for younger readers. But now, even they've got a choice. There are two weeklies, and they're both sold here. First of all, the Early Times, which is very informative. It looks a bit like a scaled-down version of the Times newspaper. The headlines here are Soviet prisoners will be set free. And then inside there's Problem Page, Dear Joe, and crosswords and things. And the other paper is called Scoop. The Scoop's headline is The Great Burger Rip-Off, about all the ingredients that you find in beef burgers. And they've got colour pop posters and puzzles galore, and also jokes. Listen to this. What's a frog's favourite game? Croquet. Croquet. And this is where Scoop is put together. What happens is all the reporters gather the most interesting stories and bits of news. It's typed out on the computer, and then it goes straight to the printer. And after that, the artist takes over. And he designs everything and makes the paper look attractive and readable, or he's supposed to do that anyway. We've also got the fashion editor over here working on what's new and groovy this week. This is a reporter in action. You never know, you just might be interviewing Ross right now. And over there is Ian, the editor. What's on this week's headlines then?
There's two main headlines. One's a survey showing that teachers aren't very good at spelling, can't add up, and aren't much good at history and geography. And the other one is about Bros probably being the number one, having the number one single at Christmas.
And how do you know that that's what your young readers want on their front page?
We try and get as much feedback from young people as we can. We do get literally hundreds of letters in, and we also have a regular group of young people that come into the office and chat about what they think is important.
Upstairs, a group of Scoop readers were telling the publisher, Michael Sombart, what they thought of the week's edition.
Well, I think it could have a bit more news in it and cut out a bit on the fashion. But otherwise, I think it's good.
We were talking about the problem page before. That's what should be put in, because a lot of girls, in my school, we all go for problem pages. That's what we want to know.
And isn't there a problem page in this paper?
No.
Well, with the problem page, when someone has a problem, I don't think they'd want to discuss it with everyone else possible.
The Early Times method is slightly different. I asked its editor, Nikki Smith, what it's setting out to do.
Well, it's the first quality newspaper for young people. There's lots of publications on the market which take a more light-hearted look at the world with pop and fashion and all that sort of thing. Early Times tries to sort of look at all the major national and international news that's going on, because young people are becoming increasingly interested in the world they're growing up in, and we think it's important to let them know what is happening.
But it's set out in a very traditional way, isn't it? A bit like the Times.
Yes, it's designed to look like a newspaper because, rather than a comic, it isn't colourful, it isn't trying to be like that. There seems to be a lot of people that think that children are only interested in colour and whatever, but that's only because that's all they've been given. We hope that we can sort of educate them into seeing that there are other things they can be interested in.
Now, I've been press ganged by one of your young reporters. I think he was about 10 or 11. Is everybody who works on that newspaper that young?
No, not at all. Most of the papers are written by professional journalists, but we have the centre pages are written by the press gang, which any reader can join and become a junior reporter.
So any Early Times reader who's keen to test his or her reporting skills can have a try. And I caught up with this week's press gang interviewing the government minister in charge of schools, Mr. Kenneth Baker.
Some people believe that the standard of education has dropped. Do you agree with them?
We sort of hit a plateau about 4 years ago in exam results, and they've been on the plateau and come down very slightly in the last couple of years. If you compare us with Germany, we don't do very well at the age of 16, I'm afraid. There's an exam in Germany which is taken by 16-year-olds, and these are not grammar school children. They're the sort of average, if you like, of ability. And they have to take an exam in the German language, maths, technology, humanities, and a foreign language, English. And about 80% pass at 16, that exam. And in a similar exam in Britain, we only get about 30% passing. That's not very good.
Why do we need a national curriculum? And why do private schools not have to follow it?
We're the only country in the world that doesn't have a national curriculum. In the past, it's been left to individual schools, individual local education authorities to do their own thing. Now, some have done it very well, let me say that at once. Others have done it in a very patchy way. Whereas in Germany, you find there's a regularity over the country. There's a conformity over the country. But I don't want a conformity that is a straitjacket in the national curriculum. I want flexibility. The second question you asked was why don't the private schools have to follow it? For two reasons. First, they are independent schools, and the tradition is that in our country we have not imposed things upon the private independent schools. The second reason is that a lot of the independent schools, the great majority, do follow something very close to the national curriculum.
But what do the readers think of the papers?
I prefer Scoop because it's like for all ages, like the Early Times is like a normal newspaper.
It's eye-catching, the colour on the front. And the Early Times is just like black and white, and I prefer the colour.
The Early Times is like more like an adult newspaper. I like it because Scoop hasn't got any real stories, it's all cartoons and pictures and everything.
The Early Times is like, it's loads and loads of writing, not enough pictures, and it's not in colour.
You could get another, like a normal newspaper, but it doesn't have no competitions.
I know, but when you read those stories, you fall to sleep, but when you read the Early Times stories, they're interesting.
There are lots of different views. Scoop costs 42 pence, Early Times costs 38 pence. They're both out every week. The choice is yours. And this is what the Early Times press gang thought of that interview with Kenneth Baker. They said he could do better, and also they thought he was wriggling out of questions. Very tough, this press gang. And there's another newspaper available as well, so there's now 3. This one is The Younger News. This is out every 2 weeks, and it says, the children's newspaper warning, reading may seriously improve your general knowledge. Full of competitions and things, as well as current affairs.
It's good if you want to be a journalist to write for it.
Absolutely, and loads more newspaper for fish and chips.
Yeah. Right, have a look at these 2 clips. The first one is from A Bear Behind, and the second from our 30th birthday programme. And see if you can tell what they've got in common.
I am sitting in the middle of a rather muddy puddle, with my bottom full of bubbles and my wellies full of mud, while my jacket and my sweater go on slowly getting wetter as I very slowly settle to the bottom of the mud. And I find that what a person with a puddle round his middle thinks of mostly in the muddle is the muddiness of mud.
Oh, Blue Peter, my idea of heaven would be to walk hand in hand through the Blue Peter garden with Karen and Yvette and Biddy Baxter. Oh, 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 blue, blue, blue. Peter, Peter, Peter. Thank you.
Well, Mud by Boz the Bear and that verse about me and Yvette are examples of 2 quite different sorts of poetry. And they show that poems can come in all shapes and sizes, and that in just a few words they can say a lot without being boring or complicated. And that's what Tony Robinson, also known as Baldrick from the Blackadder, showed with his Blue Peter poem. At last, we get to hold hands.
Great.
I'm sorry Biddy and Yvette can't be here.
Yes, 1 down, 2 to go.
How long ago did you write that poem? How long did it take you to write it?
How long did I wrote it in the car just before I did it. I just sort of thought about some jokes that I wanted to do about Blue Peter, and then just wrote them down, and then had a look and fiddled around with a few words and then did it and then threw it away. And people have written in and asked me for copies of it.
And you can't remember
No,
it?
I can't remember it.
Have you been writing poetry for a long time?
Well, I think poetry's just mucking around with language, isn't it? It's the first thing you do. When you were lying in your cot, I expect you went... Or words
I can't remember that.
And babies don't do that because they want to talk to you. Or that's not the only reason, is it? They do it because they just like going... They like making the
sounds
noises.
of it.
And I think that's all poetry is, isn't it? Mucking around with noises and rhythm.
What would you say actually makes a poem a poem?
I don't know, really. I think a poem's anything. Anything that's not just you and me talking to each other, finding different ways of saying things. We hate Nottingham Forest, we hate Liverpool too, we hate Manchester United, but City, we love you. It's a poem.
So it doesn't have to rhyme?
Nope.
You've got a poem there that you're going to read for us.
I'll have. This is a poem about something that someone cares about very much. It's called My Ferret. Thou knows my ferret's better than thine. Thou knows my ferret's nice, thou knows. Thou don't know my ferret's name. It's Samantha Fox, thou knows. My ferret's smoother than a pebble, and it's furrier than thy hair, thou knows. I know that jealous thee. Now, that wasn't written by me. That was written by Scott Richardson, who is 12 and who comes from Prince Edward Middle School in Sheffield.
And Scott and Lucy Howard, who's 10, were two of the winners in the recent Young Poet of the Year competition. Welcome to Blue Peter, both of you. Scott, was that reading of your poem all right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It wasn't
that was
good.
okay. How long have you both been writing poetry for?
Since I was about 4, I've been writing stuff that's like poetry.
And what about you, Scott?
8 months.
And was there any particular reason why you started?
No,
How many poems have you written in 8 months?
about 20. Something like that.
That's pretty good going, isn't it? What sort of things do you write about apart from ferrets?
Animal. Turkeys. All I think of.
All things that you just see all the time? What about you, Lucy?
Well, I write poems about mostly animals, and when it's at school they tell you to write a poem about bonfire night and things like that, and anything that I see, and also especially pigs.
Why pigs especially?
Pigs, they're well, I think they're so intelligent. They're much more intelligent than some human beings, and they're really they're docile and friendly and really nice.
Do you have a pig?
No, but I've got a really friendly one. She lives in a farm near us. It's called Prudence.
Did you have a ferret?
Yeah, I had loads.
And you don't have any at the moment?
Not yet.
Now, Lucy, you have a poem which you've written about animal conservation, which Tony's going to read for
I'll read
us.
it for you. Animal conservation. Why do you spray insecticides? Can't you really see that our present hinders our future of animals to be? Why are jungles being destroyed? Why do men chop down trees? Today must help tomorrow and try to stop all these. Why is the whale being hunted down and slaughtered just for man? Before they're wiped off the face of the earth, we must do all we can. Remember, please, the dodo. Extinction's example so true. You're lucky to be who you are. A beetle could be you.
That's great.
Great.
Are all your poems serious?
Well, no. Some of them are funny or sort of going in rhyme and not really being serious.
Do you find, Scott, that when you're writing a poem that you have to kind of shuffle everything about, or does it just come out?
Just comes out.
And is it easier to write about some things in poetry than it would be if you're writing like an essay about them?
He's written one about his best friend in real life, who's probably watching the telly now, isn't
Tell us
he?
a bit about your best friend.
Not really to tell about him.
What's his name?
Carl.
Well, I wonder what he'll do when he hears this poem when you get back to school. Does thou know Carl? He met Sammy on Walsall, thou knows. Our Carl said, "Sammy, my love bird, will you go out with me?" And she said, "Ah, love, thou knows that cute."
There you are. You started something new. What do you think?
I'm much better with animals than with Biddy Baxter. Really.
What do you think Carl's going to do when he hears that?
Probably don't know.
You don't know at all?
Probably kill me.
Chase you around the playground, you told me.
Just quickly, do you both want to be poets?
Yes, probably going to be something else, like a pig farmer or something,
Pig farmer.
I'll definitely keep on writing them.
I think you're both wonderful poets, and good luck with it. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you.
Tony, in The Blackadder, Baldric is always going back to all kinds of periods of time, and you've also done... I can't...
She asked me how to pronounce it.
Odysseus, you have about
Odysseus,
3,000
well
years.
done, yeah.
What period of history are you writing about at the moment?
Well, I'm doing a storytelling thing about Queen Boadicea, Boudica, which I did with Toyah Willcox, and I wrote it so that it rhymed, so that it was like a poem or like a rap, and then we worked with the percussionist from Aztec Camera, went into a recording studio, very exciting, and we cut it together like a rock video, so it's like a half-hour story that's a rock video with music and percussion as well.
And do you have that wonderful scene where she goes through the chariot with knives on the wheels?
No, that wasn't true about the knives. That's just what the Victorians said. I mean, if you think about it, if you tried to park a chariot that had knives sticking out of it, you'd kill a traffic warden or something.
Be great for getting through traffic, though, wouldn't it?
Would.
Well, we can see a preview of Boudica, and this is the moment when the British chief has been killed by a legion of Roman soldiers, and the rest of the Britons are all wondering who will become their new ruler.
And there, lying in his coffin, is the tribe chief. The crown on his head's as much use now as a horse with one leg, because he's dead, stone dead. Who'll take over now that he's lying here stiff as a board with a sword at his side? Who'll lead the tribe? Who'll keep them in hand now the land is thick with Romans, hated Romans? Then suddenly, the sobbing stops, the howling ceases. Walking towards the dead chief is a woman with hair like flame. She kisses the corpse of her husband, throws a handful of dust on the coffin, and begins to hum a melody, a tune of the tribe, a song of farewell. The chief is dead, but the tribe lives on, a sacred moment.
Well, you can see the whole story of Queen Boudica at 5 to 5 on BBC One on Thursday, the 29th of December, immediately before a programme you definitely don't want to miss. Thank you very much, Bonnie. The Blue Peter Review of the Year.
Now, from a 1st century hero to a 17th century one, Oliver Cromwell, no less, and we've actually got Oliver Cromwell in the studio today. Not, of course, the original Oliver Cromwell, because he died quite a long time ago, but a green parrot called Oliver Cromwell. He's come along with his owner, Cecilia Perez. Hello, Cecilia.
Hello.
And hello, Oliver. How are you?
Hello, Oliver.
Are you all right? It loves talking, apparently.
Hello. Say hello, Oliver.
Hello.
Hello. Oliver. Hello.
Is he all right?
Oliver. Hello.
He's
hello,
not,
Oliver.
He's not deaf, is he? No.
Hello, Oliver. Say hello. Hello.
I've heard he's not feeling
Oliver.
very well. Has he got a...
Hello.
Has he got a cough?
Do you have a bad cough, Oliver? You have a bad cough? Do you have a bad cough?
Well, he's incredibly talkative, isn't he? He doesn't like noises, apparently, because sometimes Oliver objects to other people disturbing him, like clapping. He doesn't like clapping. Well, sometimes he likes clapping. And he certainly doesn't like people hovering. Oh, he obviously loves hovering. What is he supposed to say, Cecilia?
He says, stop it.
Stop it
Yeah.
when I hover. Oh, well, he didn't then. He obviously quite likes it. Never mind. Well, this weekend, Oliver will try and claim the title of national champion in the Talking Bird contest.
And to do that, Oliver will have to overcome Basil. Basil's a yellow-fronted Amazon, and the yellow part is the patch above his beak. Now, Karen Ritchie helps look after him. Now, he's talking already. What's he saying? Hello.
Hello, Basil.
Hello, Basil.
Hello, Lola.
Hello, Basil.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Pretty bird. That's a pretty boy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
What else could he say?
Well, he trumpets the charge of the light
Oh,
brigade.
yeah.
Oh, let's hear that.
Yes. But he's very keen on this.
Listen, I hope it'll be a good, fair fight on Saturday, don't you? What do you think?
And if you want to see and hear hundreds of birds, then Birmingham's the place for you between the 2nd and 4th of December. Especially if you're Blue Peter badge winners. That will give you free entry to the National Exhibition of Cage and Aviary Birds at the National Exhibition Centre.
Let's hope the exhibition is a great success, because did you know that Birmingham's actually in peril? Find out all about the monster weed that threatens Brummie on Monday.
When Peter Duncan will be here.
And I'll have dried off.
Now, before that, on Saturday, I'm going to a bring and buy sale. I'm having my own bring and buy sale up in Leeds at All Woodley Primary School. It starts at 10 o'clock, finishes at 2. Bring along all you possibly can. Got to be in good condition, don't forget. And don't forget to arrive with something. Home-baked cakes, anything you like. See you Saturday and see you on Monday.
Bye. Hello. It's too quiet now. Could everybody start talking again? Good luck with Showtime, which is on at the Mayflower Theatre, Southampton, from the 6th to the 10th of December. Now, last Thursday was a dark, damp and dreary day here in London. And at the start of the day, we really needed something to cheer us up. Here in the Blue Peter studio, we had just the thing. Mark tried out a brand new idea in baths, a lovely spa bath that's supposed to soothe away any aches and pains. Why can't I do it?
No, we can't cut off it.
Can I swivel around like this?
You can swivel around, but not go down. So you can't cut off it.
Okay, I'll just swivel around.
Cut, please, folks. It's still recording. That's a noise. Close the door, please.
Good luck with Showtime, which is on at the Mayflower Theatre, Southampton, from the 6th to the 10th of December. Last Thursday was a dark, damp and dreary day here in London. At the start of the day, we really needed something to cheer us up. And here in the Blue Peter studio, we had just the thing. Mark tried out a brand new idea in baths, a lovely spa bath that's supposed to soothe away any aches and pains. They said I could do it.
Checking the tape.
This is the best toy here.